Hi everyone, thank you for joining us for the webinar. I will just quickly start this off by giving a brief introduction on QGLUE, TIE, the awards, and our mentor, Raphael. So QGLUE is a QAI promoted venture that has been working tirelessly to inculcate a design-led culture within India and globally. Using design thinking and its principles, we want organizations to embrace empathy and human-centered approach at the core of all that they do. So we partnered with TIE, which is a global non-profit and is one of the world's largest entrepreneurial organizations, to launch the TIE QGLUE Design-led Entrepreneurship Awards 2 years ago in 2017. Since then, we've had a great run. We've had a great 2 years. We've had some notable winners, some amazing startups who've applied and who've, shown really how they've used innovation, design principles, and human-centered approach in the work that they do. Now we have with us our TIE QGLUE Design-led Entrepreneurship Awards 2019 mentor, Raphael Darren, with us. He has had over 10 years of experience in conducting design thinking workshops, designing business models for products and services. Is also the founder of Tog Design, as well as a teacher and facilitator in the areas of innovation, service design, business design, and user experience. Over to you, Raphael.
Okay, thank you, Davika. Hello, everyone. Let me just quickly say a hi here in more human. Just turning on the camera. Hello, everyone. So I am Rafael, and I will be just saying this hi here and jumping back on the presentation. So let me just share here. Yeah. So I'm Rafael Daron, and I'm from Brazil. Right now, I'm based in Lisbon. It's quite early here. So thank you, Davika, for the invitation, and also thank you for Nabu, and thank you for all the audience that is joining us right now. So my goal here today is to talk a little bit about business design, and the idea behind that is to talk more about the people and the way that we do that. And let me just quickly introduce myself and my background, just to let you know why I'm doing that and what brought me here. I started my background on IT, so I studied information system, and by working with that, I realized that one thing that I like more than coding, it was to take care about the interface. So in 2008, I started to study usability and human-centered design, and then by applying that, I was able to start a small team in a quite large company in Brazil, where it was a hard moment to do that, where people say that those that cares about like these kind of things on interface, it was like you're just making flowers on interface. So it was like the hard moment. And but building the culture in that company, for that, it was my objective. And then after that, I also joined other research and development institute in Brazil, while I was working with that by applying design for like large companies. And after that, I end up like by joining startup world, and like when I got on that, I got close to the agile methods that we were applying in IT. So I saw a lot of things in common on that. And by working with startups, I decided to do a master in service design. So that's what that before that I did a specialization in interaction design, and after that I went through service design. So I had like the IT, the tech side, the design side, and then I was looking for something more related with business. And I felt like service design close to that, that could give me something more. So I joined Politecnico di Milano in Italy, and then after that I started to work with more with startups and this business. So I moved to Portugal at that time, and I was working with like it was like over like 100 startups that I worked here from many different countries. I was working in one of the biggest startups accelerators at that time. It was 2014, And then I kept on this like combining agile methods and design as a process, and making that I went back to Brazil, and then that's how I start my own business at Tog. And the main goal at Tog is just to teach design for people, and also make like difference for the business that we work with. So right now we basically work more with the service design, the UX design, and the UI design. We do also have tech people and people that works with branding and this creative side, that is a helper on making this experience. So for that, we are able to also help startups from zero on all this understanding until like going to the market and traction. So and that's Tog Design. So you can also follow, like, I have my personal contact and the contact of the company here, LinkedIn or Facebook or even Instagram and Twitter. So and the main thing that I decided to talk here, it was and that's when I put by the people for the people, because we are the people that make the design for others to use, and that's the goal that we're going to be talking about. So and right now I'm just going to move to just have one quick overview on the scenario. So if we look nowadays, we have this new generation that is all the millennials and all the new habits that those people develop. So and when we look to them, we have like over like 25 hours weekly that they spend online. And these kind of people were 84% influenced by reviews when they can shop online. And these people I see like as 43% on authentic content is what they are looking actually for. So when we think about those generation and the way that we build things for them, they shape a lot of things in the way that we are designing things. So that's why I start always with these thoughts on what is the scenario that we have for the new generation and the way that people are just behaving online and in all these things. And then I do also have a contrast with that, and I would like just to introduce you quickly my grandma Rosalina. So and it's funny because we were in, I was in Brazil with her in a farm. She lives in a farm there in the south of Brazil, and I introduced her for Face app, and she has her own smartphone, and she was just playing with that, and she felt like funny, and you know, like my grandpa and my grandma was like always the people that I was trying things on usability since the beginning. So it was I was just paying attention in her emotions, the way that she react on where she saw her face in a different style, and then she just asked me, oh, can you share those photos on the group of the family that we have on WhatsApp? So and you know, like she got so involved on that, and you know, all these things, all like this approach of like sharing things, and you know, people getting emotions through an application is something that really takes like attention from the users. So but usually these kind of things get to us when we see someone using that, and then that's why we in this conversation here, we just look for all these scenario on the way that we have like this marketing, all the communication, and that is so important for the business. But sometimes it's like that just try to sell things for people that they may do not need, and that's the idea of like this conversation is to coming from making people want things to making things that people really want, and that's why we bring the people experience and all these emotional impacts that we can have on user, on people, when we are creating business for them. And I would like to start with this story about when first Ford start, it was like the T model. So when they launched in 1908, the first version, so it was like a so successful model that they were selling a lot in big cities, and it starts to grow also for the farms. So people on agriculture, they start to buy this car, and when they start to use that, they had to carry their suppliers on the car, and they start to take out their seats from the back for that. So, and then by observing that, Ford realized that they could launch this model that was the first pickup on the market that they launched. It was the F150 model. So when they first launched this, it was based on the behaviors that they perceive on the market that people were using, and it was 1925. So if we see from the first model, we have about 17 years of like waiting for that. You know, that was the time that they launched something new by observing the clients that they had. And nowadays, it's just in comparison. It's like all this new generation that we spoke about. It's something that it says on the statistics that we have to be renewing a business or our value proposition that we have each 3 months. So it's a really fast market. And if we look for all these big brands, it's basically what they are doing. Like each month or each 3 months, they're launching something new because they have to get involved with the users. So, and it's so hard to make that, mainly if we are just starting. And the reason that we are bringing the huge, like all these people, like centered design that we could say is for helping to organize the way that we do the business by thinking on them. And also like coming like for closer to us, we probably most part of you had something like this, and all these things, and probably we recognize that it was part of us at somehow. And after 2007, we had the iPhone. So, and that was like just combining like all these things, all these features that we had like separately in one. So, and that also changed a lot the way that we behave online, the way that we are using the things today. Maybe someone is just watching this webinar through an iPhone, and that wasn't possible. So, so when we look for those kind of things, all these things comes from observing people, observing the way that they are using things and making things in a different way. I do also brought this example of like creating something that people need and or make something differently for them. This is Italy, is a big supermarket brand from Italy, and this photo I took in Milan in 2013, and still it impressed me because you can see out of the supermarket, like it was about like 40 or 50 meters of lane, people waiting to get inside the supermarket. And the reason that they do that is like Italy have like a great experience inside. They think about the people, like experience, the customer experience that they're gonna provide inside for the people. So that's why they can still like being waiting to get inside and have a great experience. Just to have you one idea on the type of things that they do and they sell is like this one. You can inside Italy you can just have and one beer or something, and while you are walking around shopping, you can have like people serving you. They have great restaurants inside, and this kind of experience that they provide, like a fancy Italian way of living. And then when it comes to products that they sell, I took this photo because it was funny. the way that I saw, like we have those box here, and behind that we have the pasta. So, but if we come close to the box, it's like what basically they are selling is a travel box, like where you first bought that kind of things online or even in a place. Um, but basically, they just combine a solution between transport, restaurants, hotels, and accommodation. So, and they build these kind of things to improve like all the tourism on the rural areas that they have in Italy. And it was a like one nice way of like making people visit the people on the farms and also make a business through that. And they were selling that in the supermarket. So nowadays you can see a lot of that, but this photo I took in 2013. So it was kind of like impressed, and the way that people were just thinking about the users and what they could offer for them by combining things. And then if we do also look for this is a project called Fruta Feia, that means ugly fruit from Portuguese. So this is a connection where you can basically just subscribe here to buy fruits that people are not like happy with that, so they don't want that, and that's why they are like just helping farmers from Portugal on selling that. And you know, it's a lot of people waiting to buy these fruits that before it was like just like throwing that away. So because they couldn't sell that in supermarkets, so they just shaped something where they could sell for people, and they create value on that. And there was something that didn't have. So it's all of these things that I'm talking is just to give you one idea on like the experience behind that. And when we come through experience, I just would like to explain that in the 3 steps that we have. So it doesn't matter for what, it's like in all product or service interaction that we have, we're gonna have 3 steps. The first one is all the before part of an experience, all the things that will bring us to something specifically, and is like all the marketing that attracts me on that, all the call to actions that we have in our websites, on all the things. It could be all the touch points that we have, like even flyers and any material that we have to getting something specifically. And after that, we get a track on that. We go through the during phase, and in this phase, what we have is basically the starting to interact with the service that we have. So it can be from like, if we're talking about like digital platform, it could be like just my first time that I access that, the search that I'm gonna do on that, or even the login that the sign up that I'm gonna have. So all these steps that we map, and what could be like the information that I get since I just log in here. So what can I provide for someone that is new? They don't know my product and what I'm gonna offering them in the first impression, you know. So this is also like all these things are part of during phase, and it's all the time that I'm gonna be using some specific product. And when the experience is good on that and it's something that we really like, we of course will tell people and even come back to use. And that is the after part. So what is the experience that we provide after that someone passed through our service? So you know, like the kind of remind that you can offer for the user, or call him back here. So all these things, when we think about those 3 different scenarios and we set our business in these 3 positions, we start to think, how can we convert people? How can we still get engaged them while they are using? And how can we maintain them? So it's all these 3 steps that we have to create a balance on that. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if you have like a great marketing to convert people, but your product is not. So it's you should balance all this experience, and then with that you will be able to have people with you, to keep the people with your product or even your service by providing a great experience for them. So and yeah, when it comes to experience, we can get like so deep on this area as well. But I just would like to make you reflect about what was the last product or service that you used. Like right now, we are using a stream here, an online stream. Maybe someone is using something else on the smartphone, or even are in the transportation now, like going to somewhere or in a restaurant. So all these things are products and service that we are always using. And if we think about like probably you guys have way more, you guys that are like in Asia have way more than me while I am right now today in Portugal. I just woke up and it's like how many products and service do we interact in a day? And it's crazy when we stop just pay attention in that is all these things connected and the way that it works. So all synchronized. So when we look for these kind of things, I like just to get in detail and it's like what keep us using everyday service or everyday product that we have. So it's all the experience that we provide for that. So otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. If the experience for me is good on that, if the value that they have on that is good, I'm going to use that. So and we have to have a sense on, you know, all the things. It maybe should be like 15 minutes that you're gonna like just have the tension of you're using in a day, but it should be important those 15 minutes. And sometimes we just have to be more empathic of that to get understand it and make it for the user. So, and then I do also would like to just come through this way where like what market are you in? Is like which is the sector that you work with? Based on that, like the way I like the way that Uber did with well, we are not a taxi, we are a mobility service, so we think about the mobility, and when they think about like the entire market that they have, is a way where they will never just look for where they are working right now, and they see way more on that. So that is a great like point on the way that company are just setting back the way that they are positioning themselves on this digital age. And we had one experience in Brazil recently. It was a quite large company from is the third biggest graphic company in Brazil. So they're like over like all the states in Brazilian market, like all like 200 million of people over that. And when I was talking with the directors there, they were just first asking how could we apply technology on our business and make like our things more tech. And then I basically just give it back another question. So which is the area that you first, like one step back, which is the area that you work with, which is the area that all your things that you provide are working for. So, and based on that, we saw that education was the area that they could be impacting with what they provide. So when we and first they didn't have that sense on looking for education. They know that all the things that they create it goes through that market, but they never thought about like detail on that area. So when we started with that, we based on that we had like a deep research on Sao Paulo area and the countryside of Sao Paulo. And after that, we did also design sprint with them on rethinking their business and by also bringing people on that. So we're gonna talk about later the way that we co-create things and how can we make it like more often for our business. But what I would say here is that based on the first thing that they asked me like regarding tech and the way that I answered it back, it's like all the time like technology. We see the technologies as the way that we have to go and it's not. So ever like I see that it's like all the times we're gonna be focused on human, on the people that will use that, and that is way more important. And you know, a lot of companies they just see the technology and that the technology is just an enabler for it. So it's basically that. It's just when we have to we put ourselves down and we look for that, we can understand it better and then start to make something. And most part of the startups, they just think about the technology, and it's important that, but it's also like what is the value that we are adding for the people that are gonna use this technology, and just to have one idea here. And I brought this example just to explain it better, the way that we can split that, like from product and service, all the features that we're gonna have in the system, and all the other side are like from the people side, which is like their what are their tasks that they want to do. So and if we look for that, all the customer jobs that we have to be done, it's the important thing that we have to offer for them, because that is developed for the user. And then when we match that with the features that we have, we start to understand better how our system can work and how it can keep user on that. So that is an Uber example, but all like this mobility service, they are based on these kind of features and the way that they interact. But we have to always keep in control like the features that we have and what are the customer jobs that we're serving with that. So that's the way that we can start to map the experience that we are providing on our business. And as I mentioned about business, and that was like the main title that we start here. So business is all business design. So business is just a commercial transaction. Is about money and the way that people were making that agreements and all these things. And when we talk about design, design is a project. Design is all the ability of planning something and organizing that. So to think in a laterally way of doing something, to think different on that, and seeking more sustainable and desirable opportunities. So that's for me is the best explanation of design and the way that we work with design inside Tog. So and then when we start to see like design is for everything. You know, once I heard something that if you do not know what to do, just do design, because design you can apply in anything, and that's true. So we can see design as an artifact, or even design what it is and how it works. So looking for that and the way that people interact. And then we see inside Tog also design, and that's our main thing, main business on that is design as a process. So this is a famous image that maybe most part of you already know. But for those that not, is just this mass area are the way where we are understanding people. We are like trying to get some patterns on that, and based on that, with the insights that we get, we go through the pieces that we're going to create. So we start to analyze patterns, and based on the patterns, we start to try that, the hypotheses that we call in the market with the people. So and trying that, by trying that, we're going to be able to understand it better and sell it better for the clients, and see if that is really the value that we are adding for them. And I do also would like to show what we do inside Tog as service design. And when it comes to service design is a huge area as well. But all these things, all these terms are just different terms that people use. And you know, like it's all for us, it's always design as a process. But each one, they can have different approach, different tools that we use, and it's just should be on like make everyone like understand in the same level of this understood that we have. So service design is all about people, process, and the touch points that people are interacting with. And when we combine all these things and come through journeys that we offer for the users, So the service design, we can say that it has two things. It's all the user experience that we provide for the end user, but also the sustainability for this business happening. So, and the way that we interact between them. So when we think about that, we can make it stronger for the service that we provide. So I brought here one example, and you can also look for this this example here in this link. But I just to have one idea, this is a famous and one of the most famous example on explaining what is service design. And basically for that, just imagine two coffee shops in the same place, the same coffee and the same price. What brings one user to one store and not the other is the service design. So the store one, the coffee shop one, they think about something new, they launch that, they gonna create something, and then they're gonna put that for the client. When the client use that, is not something that he liked. And the difference for the coffee shop B is that they first start to look for the client, and what is the client, like the journey before, during, after, and then they start to map all these journeys, and based on the journeys they start to ideate things for them, and on these ideas that they create, they put the value on that. And it can go way deeper, and it's like all the after that what we do is all start to work and co-design with the clients. So since we map all these things, we start to co-design with them. And I prefer before to show more details on the video that you can see online through this link. I just brought some examples that I will be showing you things that we've done at Tog. So here we have one way of looking for design lead, and just to have you one idea. On one side we have more this kind of like someone that is taking care about that and creating something to try with users. So that is all this user-centered design side. So basically we create things and we put things for user to test. And in the other side, what we do as design is more on the co-creation, on the participatory design, where we involve the users on all the stages on the product. So it depends on the situation that we're going to use. For some clients, we go more in the user-centered design, and that's basically what we do more here is more for software house companies and these kind of things. And in the participatory design, we see more value when we are creating something new or even thinking about new features that we're gonna think about. And the user-centered design is more for renewing something that we apply. But we can always be working with both. And that's just so you guys have one overview on this area on how does it work. So it's always a combination between the balance between like all these things. Like you have to have the research side on that, but it shouldn't be that much deep that you cannot like get in details. And I will show later the all these research ways that we have. And here is basically design thinking process, and is the way that we do that inside Tog. So we have all this research part, sorry that is in Portuguese, but we have all this research part, and then we go for, after that we understand that, we go for ideating that with clients, and after that we prototype business, and then we validate that. And based on these two, the prototype and the validation, we keep on that just to take all the learnings that we can have from some product. And then just after that, we are done for move ahead on the building and making something for the client. And here we have just this kind of lean process that is what we use we add on that design thinking process. That is the idea of like coming from an idea, build something, launch something, and learn based on that, and you keep on that. So just trying. And when we see for the design research part, is like just to have you guys one idea, like the methods that we could use and what we could get in the different perspectives on the research part. So as you can see, as deep you go, as you have to interact more with the people. So if we look back on the example that I showed you, the design lead on, or the research lead is the combination. So that is the middle part of these, the different colors that we have. That is the balance when we are applying both. So it doesn't have like, it depends on the product, what we going to create, or even not just the product, but also the budget that people have for that. So, but in this first stage is something more regarding interviewing them, understanding them through a conversation, and it's basically you're gonna get what people say, and maybe that is something important, or it really depends on people. But when you start to go deep on that, and you start to, for example, observe people, you're gonna see like in more details what they think and the way that they do things, and then you're gonna start to go deeper on the understanding from your user. And then if you go even deeper on that, you're going to start to pay attention in what people use, the way that they feel, and what they dream. And that's what we call as generative design. So and all the answers that we can get from here, it's something deeper on one specific kind of user. And we have to combine that through clusters that we're gonna do. Otherwise, it's quite heavy to move ahead on something when we build this first interaction with them. So and here what I have is just one example of things that we've done. This is one project that we've done for the government here in Portugal regarding water efficiency for the country. And we basically, for this project here, we start to talk with a lot of people, we visit a lot of families, we map different kind of profiles, the clusters that we had. We brought the way that they are behaving inside, what they do, what they don't do, where they are just spending water. And based on that, we co-create a design sprint with them. We brought a lot of their partners, a lot of people that work in water market in Portugal. And based on that, we start to facilitate this co-creation with them. So I was just doing these, like it was people from the government, people from private sector, and all together they know a lot what they are doing, and each one could just bring their thoughts on that, and based on that, in 5 days we were able to start from like from problems that we map, and then start to discuss business opportunities, and in the end we got a sustainable project for it was a program for the government where it has the sustainability, and also on based on that we could even employ people, and also based on that we could make people more conscious about the consuming on the water. So this is just one example of how can we apply design when we have this kind of projects. And here is something just important to mention about this project that was like one of the key learnings that I got. Like this was a photo that I took when they were just talking with people on the street. And sometimes it's so hard to go to the street and talk with them. And they are the users that are going to use something. And it's just sometimes we're just comfortable being at our seats, and like even directors that we invite to go to the streets, and it's like, should we go to the streets or should we bring users here? And you know, the users are there, they're in their home or they're around, so you can even bring them, but it's different, and it's also nice to see the way that people are doing that. So, and just to you guys have one idea, based on that, we had our final objective on that. That is a plan for later, and we already mapped that. And we start with an MVP. So the way that we're gonna arrive on that is like through steps. It's like a stair that you are moving step by step. And you know, you were talking about the culture of people in a country. It's not just something like that you can sell and it's okay. So for that to have the impact, we also map that we have to go in slowly with this project is something bigger. So it depends on the project. For example, here we do also have another project. It's a startup that helps people to move to Portugal. So they can care about business relocation, all the visa, and we map all these things, the way that people are interacting. If you go in their website, it's moving.com, you can have the English version and the most like something, we renew already their website. So but basically what we did here, it was going through details on all this service design and all this process that we could, based on that, map the user journeys and the way that people are gonna use to get in details for their visa or for anything that they want. And based on that, we start to map all these journeys, and we were able to create all those interfaces that you guys are seeing here, and also we care for them about the website, all the front end and this development. So and then on that, we just launched them. They're this week during the Web Summit is our biggest event in Portugal, that is just started yesterday night. So we have like over like 70,000 people in Portugal, and we were just redesigning all the content for the people that are going to be there. But they are still in an MVP mode where we are also thinking about the platform and go in detail for that. So we have to go and understand and make even clear the communication that we're gonna have. But it's not only the communication and also the way that people are gonna be interacting with the platform. And this is just one example of one of the features that we designed for them in a way where we were looking for the way that people were interacting, the way that their business could interact with the government, and that's what we are building. And that's the after MVP. That is something that we are already starting with the platform. So and this tool that you guys are seeing is just one example of blueprint that we use for map these journeys and also map the way that the system and the business will work with. So this is one of the most popular tools that we use inside service design. And here, just as another example, in the last one, I just would like to go in through a co-design education for kids that we did. It was all the design research and the service proposal for them. So it was for Brazilian market, and it was one big player in the market, and they just would like to bring something different for children on that area. It was like a very open research that we could have. So here is just some of the examples that we have about the research that we did, and we set like one goal for that, and then we went through all the methodology that we would like to apply, and all these studies subjects that we objects that we would like to have. So this is just one example of what we did for this project. All these contextual interviews, personal observation, game research, playing time. You know, we just let kids play on that. All this desk research on the on the area, and also insight synthesis. So based on that, we were able to get detail in all the areas on deeply understand people by interacting with them. So for example, when we brought kids in a room where they could just play and have something nice, they were so comfortable, and they could give us a lot of things, a lot of thoughts. If you ask a kid something, which would be the your idea for something new, what would you like to? They have like no limit conditions. So it's like they can bring you a lot of great ideas on that. So, but they have to be comfortable for that. Otherwise, they're not. So this is more for the research part, but it's also important to understand the importance that it had for a business. We are mapping that to make something sustainable for them. So here's just some of the calls that we got from users, and then after that we went through the personas, we defined them, and we just brought some of the key learnings that we got from research, and also the benchmark that we did from the games that people like that all those kids were mentioning during the research, and based on that, we also had a designing for the ecosystem on the service that we're going to provide. And for this area here specifically, as a designer, we know the process, and we know a lot on the process, but sometimes we have to have someone that is a consultant on that area. And for this project here, we had one consultant on education area that were able to help us the way that children were looking for the interactions that they would have. So and then based on that, we make the solution for them. So we propose a solution and make some of the tries on that. So it was just through the prototypes, and the solution I'm sorry, but I cannot show, is a private project that we had on this end solution, this end results that we got. But it's regarding the key learnings that I could just mention about. It's like for research and also for designing something for them, it's like be a facilitator more than a researcher. And that is really important, because when you're just facilitating things, is like you can really help people. So that's more for designers that are looking for. But it's also like for people from entrepreneur people that are in startups. Is something that you guys could be doing. When you go to talk with your users, it's something that you're gonna always learn a lot from there. So and when you learn to facilitate design sessions and this kind of things with them, you see that is way more valuable what you were doing, in the way that you can really get a lot of answers from them. And make sure the kids are at easy. So everyone is not for the kids, only for the kids. All the projects that we do, we make sure they are all at easy, because it's where the people are gonna feel more comfortable of like offering you something. And also another learning that we had is like, specifically, if any one of you guys have business on education and mainly for kids, they have no conditional limits when you let them play, so we create an environment for them to play and be comfortable. And when they were on that, they could just be talking with us normally by enjoying having fun, and also their creativity was higher. So and also another learning on this is that you have to design something for one end user, but the one that's gonna buy is another one. So you have also to map their parents. And most part of the business, when we are in startups, we can see that it's not just our main business that we are looking. So it's not the main target, but it's also the people around those that we could be like considering for selling it better for them. And then as the last learning in that is that some senior consultant could be really important for make our journey easier. So and that was one of the key learnings. We did also another mobility project for Brazilian market. It was like a small town, like 20,000 people, and we rethink about the entire mobility on the city. And we did a design session with 40 people that we had like blind people, we had elderly people, we had people from the farm, like the people that use the mobility in the city. We had also the mayor of the town that was part of that. And for that, I had one colleague from Tog that is Rafael Jareta, and he was like helping us on all these mobility and sustainability for the city. So we know the process on designing that, and we did a lot of research to get on that, and then being able to facilitate something for the clients. So that's basically how we did that. And I just put some takeaways here that we are going to the end of this session. So what we could consider, and those are my personal suggestions for anyone that is working with something, even startups or building some product or service. So being human is the first consideration that I would set here. Is like really think about the values of like the human, and then based on that you co-create solutions for them, and also have like a holistic perspective. And when I mention about an holistic perspective, is that you have to look for the client that you're going to provide something, and consider them is also part of being human. And it's like the way that you're going to impact someone and deeply. When you start to look holistically, you're going to have way more details that most part of the people are not able to see that. And encourage creativity, and that is one of the most important things when we are just doing like a new business. So it depends if you are like a big company or a large company, as much you can encourage that inside, it's important, because that's the way that you can be differently in the market. And it's also important for startups that are just starting up, and is the way that you're gonna really impact people by applying creativity. And another takeaway, it's validate as soon as possible what you can have. So as faster you go to the market and you talk with people, you're gonna be able to see if that is a great value or not. And do not wait that much. Sometimes we are just building and building, and a small feature that we have, if you just go through the streets, you're gonna learn a lot. Sometimes we just wait until we get all this end result on, and then launch something to try with people. That is important. But if you just take one small piece of that and go and talk with people, you're gonna see the way that maybe what you are doing is not the right way or the right thing that they want, and you can change it as soon as possible. So, and also share and discuss the learnings that you have. I think that's like, as you validate, is important to share and discuss internally, and always look for that. Write down things when you are researching, and that's the way that you really can figure out like all the new insights that you're gonna have while talking with people. And to finish this topic here, it's just listen and observe people more often. So as I first start with the Ford model of like the way that people did, and it took like 17 years to get to start something new. Nowadays it's different, and it's just listen and observing people more often. That's so important for what we are doing. And I just would like to put this phrase to as one of the coming from the end of this topic, the conversation on business design, that is the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. So that is from Proust, and is one of the for my personal thought is one of the most things that mostly bring me the design part in a business when we put that together, and it's really like the true side of like getting understand what is the thing that we're gonna create for the user, or even sometimes we do not understand that because they are not able to see some opportunity on that. So that's when this phrase came. And yes, so namaste and thank you for all this great time talking. But before we just finish, I just would like to offer, we do have, and Tog is part of organizing also together with Prototypes, that is our partner in Portugal, conference called Prototypes Conference, that is a product design and project manager conference, where we had speakers such Marty Kagan, Jeff Godhelp, or like and many others. So here you can even come over to Portugal or join the streaming that we're gonna have. The conference is gonna be on from 20 to 22nd of November this year, and you guys gonna be welcome. So thank you again, and it was a nice time to be here. I'm gonna go through the questions if we had questions here, and see if I can be helping with more things. Just one second here. Let's see if we have questions. Okay, so no questions for now. And Devika, are you still there?
Hi, Raphael, I'm here.
Okay, so
Quickly just throwing open, I think we just received one question. Guys, the floor is yours. Anyone has questions for the next 5-10 minutes, please go ahead. So I see one.
yeah, we had one question from India. That is, can you tell us more about defining a challenge, not just in a design sprint 5-day context, but also in a bigger design intervention context? Yeah, so it's when we are looking for, you know, like you can have a big roadmap view, and then based on that you can create small challenges on each one of that. So it's a way where you can track that easily. Is like just imagine if you have one thing that you want to solve, and it's just correctly if I got that wrong maybe, but it's when you are just starting with something, and you map the entire business on that, and you slice that in steps, and then you start to go in details, and maybe the challenge that you have is for a specific kind of target that you have. So it should be deeper on the way that you're gonna go through details. And sometimes the challenge that we have is more, you know, this technical challenge that is not the true step. So always, Bindia, when you get something on that, is my recommendation for it is just one step back. Always go through details on the problems that you have. And I think maybe what you set as a challenge, it's not, and it could be deeper, and that's when you can really solve something by applying design. So even through a design sprint, or even through something different process that you can be doing, and or maybe just tracking. It depends on the kind of business that you have. And yeah, so just write it down if Bindia it was answer your question, and let's go for another one that we got here. What do you mean by organization being design lead? So a design lead in an organization Prashan. So a design lead in an organization is the way where you can create a culture on that, and the way that people will be just getting involved in some of the business. So it's you build as part of a culture, and just you have one idea inside Tog. What we are doing right now is we are still a very small company, and but it's one thing that we define there is that we have to have the culture for things that we are doing. Otherwise, it doesn't become something that we gonna keep on that. So, and when you apply design lead for organization, is that most part of like even managers or like these even the director, they are not close to design process and these things. So we've done trainings for companies, quite large companies in the world, where we are teaching them design as a process, all these design thinking methods and the way that they can be applying that, because it's something that we see as they have to be doing that, and the way of doing that is just starting with something. So I hope I answered your question, Russ, and if not, just please write me more. Um, and yeah, Vinja also wrote that saying regarding the first question that she liked the idea of simplifying the intervention and breaking it down. And yeah, that's true. It's a way where you can really make it happen. Otherwise, you just being a challenge and not moving ahead on anything. So yeah, I think we're done. But if you guys have any other question, here are my contacts, and I will be happy to be talking and be in touch with anyone that was in this conversation. So please just add me and send me a message. Okay. Thank you, Devika, and thank you, Navu, for this invitation. And I hope to see the startups through the mentoring sessions that we're gonna have.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Raphael. Thank you for your time. Thank you for doing this. We are very happy to have you with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye, guys.